Hey guys, welcome back. This is Taylor again, and last week I introduced to you the three foundational pillars of my business and the type of overall elements that I provide to clients. And I'm sharing it with you not to promote my business, but more to teach you how important these three elements are in your psychological life. So last week we talked about awareness as the building block, where you can't have anything else until you have awareness. But I also taught you the distinction between awareness and insights as with regard to how you're using awareness or what you want to learn about yourself. Now, this week I want to take you one step further. This week we're talking about the second one, which is acceptance. Now, that's a heavy word. Acceptance comes up a lot in therapeutic circles, but we also hear about it all the time in the news, especially these days. We hear about it so much in terms of accepting or respecting a certain population of people or a certain person who's in a certain position or something like that. Now, in therapy and in psychological studies, acceptance goes much deeper and applies to a lot of different things. But when we're thinking about it in any aspect or in any realm, whether it's in the news or in a therapeutic setting or in a coaching engagement, whatever, it is all about respect on the fundamental level. So firstly, I'm going to go through this in a few ways, and then want to talk about what you can do with this after this video. But the first thing is about human-to-human relationships, about equality of that respect. There was a quote in a movie that I really liked that said, "Respect is the ultimate currency." It doesn't matter about money or anything else like that, or business success. It's about what respect you can give and what respect you get from other people. So a lot of people immediately jump to not accepting others, right? And as I mentioned in a recent blog post, that we make judgments based on that lack of acceptance of somebody else. But 99.9% of the time, and I'm only leaving a remainder there because who knows, maybe there's something, maybe there's an exception to the rule. It's because we don't accept something about ourselves. It's because we don't respect ourselves to the level that we should. And so then it doesn't motivate us to respect other people because something just feels wrong in ourselves, okay? And on the flip side, there are a lot of people who accept others but still don't accept themselves. You might know people like this. These are the people who care so much about some kind of social justice impact or have some kind of mission to have a positive impact on people or the world or just their day-to-day life, but they don't have that same compassion for themselves. Let me give you an example. I work with a lot of people who, whether they're starting businesses or trying to change careers or just trying to get to know themselves better, they care about a lot of things for the world. They want to serve something that's greater than they are. They want to serve other people. They care about learning about other people, showing them compassion. But what I hear a lot is that my clients start off by thinking that they are not worthy of their own respect or their own compassion or their own acceptance. And so if you're not worthy of your own acceptance, how could you possibly hope to be accepted in the way that you want to be by other people? You have to model it. You have to respect yourself first in order for people to know how to respect you and accept you the way that you are. Now it ties into all the authenticity and staying true to yourself and all of those topics that I cover with my clients as well. Because if you're confident in your authenticity and you're confident in your self-knowledge, then it's a lot easier to be respectful and compassionate and accepting of yourself, okay? So there's that one aspect. One aspect is about how we feel about ourselves, how we accept ourselves and others, just in daily interactions or the way that we want to serve the world. But then there's a second part of acceptance as well. And this is the most crucial. This is the part where you accept whatever task, for lack of better words, or goal you are working towards. Whatever is required of you at that moment. Now, in a past video, I mentioned a new concept or a new mindset on the idea of nervousness. How if you feel nervous, it's because you've achieved something. But because you've achieved something, it means that that's the start of something else. So you're nervous because you're acknowledging that you have to keep working, that there's a next step, something else has to happen next. And I tie that into acceptance because, especially in therapeutic settings, but it can be applied to any area of life, there comes a point where someone has to accept their mission. It's like in the Mission Impossible movies. It's like your mission if you choose to accept it, right? Literally word for word from the movie. And so that's the point that everybody comes to at some point. At this point, I've worked with thousands of people in the mental health treatment field and in different settings, and they all have to get to that point. It doesn't matter how much awareness we build, it doesn't matter how much clarity we have on their goals and their purpose. There has to be that moment where they accept the mission and they commit to it. I was just talking to another gentleman named Sam Matisse, who also owns a similar business as I do. And his big focus is on the difference between intention and action. He uses the metaphor of like standing on the side of a pool. What's gonna stop you from jumping in the pool? But also what's gonna motivate you to commit to actually jumping in, right? So this acceptance aspect, the reason why this is number 2 in my 3-step process and the 3 pillars of my business is because once you have awareness, you have to accept, okay, this is me. This is how badass I am. This is how strong I am. I know myself well enough. I know my mission. Now I have to commit to that mission. If you remember, the 3rd topic is accountability. And this is exactly why you cannot have accountability or success without accepting your mission first. Okay, so hopefully this makes sense, because your homework now is to think of 2 things. The first one I want you to think of is think of a time where you metaphorically were standing on the edge of a pool, or maybe literally. Maybe swimming is a fear of yours. But think of a time that you were scared to commit to something. You recognized that it was a moment to commit, where you needed to accept this was the moment or this was the mission, but you got scared and you didn't commit. You stepped back from the edge. So my first question is, in that moment, what kept you from diving in? What kept you from accepting your mission and going for it? Okay? Now, that might make you feel kind of badly. So number 2 is, I want you to think of an example in your life where you did dive in. It could be something like when you were learning something in childhood. It doesn't matter. I want to know what went through your mind to push through the fear of that commitment, fear of the uncertainty, and that made you choose to dive in and go for it. Because it doesn't matter what example you come up with. It could be literally like you learning to swim when you were younger. It could be something as simple as that. But something that pushed you past that point of fear when you were younger, when you were learning something, is the exact same skill and character trait that you're using today, or that you could use today to accept whatever your new mission is.